So John Cena finally retired. The retirement tour is over. Yeah, that shit sucked. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I gotta say, I love John Cena. He's one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. Actually, he was my favorite wrestler at one point. Yeah, I was one of those kids that John Cena inspired on TV week after week after week. So just know it pains me to say that his final year was a disappointment. Now, I'm sure WWE doesn't feel that way at all. They made hella money off John Cena. In every single city, they had a new t-shirt made, and I'm sure they sold hundreds, if not thousands of t-shirts in every single city he was at. But unfortunately, we're talking about quality, not quantity. And the quality of this year for John Cena as a character, with the stories they told on TV and the in-ring work, it was kinda up and down, hit or miss. Let's start off with the obvious, the heel turn. Now, I think it's easy for a lot of us to use hindsight to judge that moment, but if you just take the heel turn itself, the moment alone, and look at nothing else, I do believe it's one of the greatest moments in WWE history. You could argue the greatest heel turn as a singular moment that we've ever seen in wrestling. But at the end of the day gotta end, and these niggas had no clue what the fuck to do with John Cena afterwards. I mean, Triple H even said that on Unreal. John Cena turning heel wasn't even something they originally planned. They were actually planning for Cody Rhodes to turn heel? Huh? The mere fact that we literally wasted months, literally months, most of the retirement tour actually, on John Cena being a heel, but seemingly no direction of how to follow that up, is insane to me. And sure, it gave us a dynamic that I thought was pretty interesting for matches like him versus CM Punk or him versus Randy Orton. But watching that entire heel run of John Cena, it just felt like bad timing all across the board. For starters, it didn't look like his heart was in anything that he did. I mean, the guy is literally a natural born babyface. That's what he was throughout his entire run. Good, bad, and the ugly. It didn't matter if fans were cheering him. It didn't matter if fans were booing him, which leads into the next point about it being way too late. Why would John Cena turn heel now? And then have the reason being, you people booed me and treated me awfully for years. That makes no sense. They've been cheering John Cena pretty much since like what, 2020? John Cena has been beloved ever since he went Hollywood and has been a part-timer. And there was no way you were gonna get the fans to turn on John Cena now, when he's doing his retirement year. And they knew that. Don't think for 1 second they didn't, because they had a new t-shirt in every single city. You think they were gonna do that if they thought John Cena was actually gonna get legitimate heat from fans? Fuck no. They knew everyone was gonna love him every single step of the way of this tour. Another issue that sucked about this retirement tour was the lack of new faces that John Cena could actually wrestle. So many young guys on this roster that John Cena could have wrestled against, but no, we had to have him face Logan Paul twice. We could have got a John Cena and Braun Breaker match. Nope. But instead we had to get John Cena versus R-Truth twice. Fucking insane, right? These niggas did not know what the fuck they were doing with John Cena throughout this entire tour, and it's evident by just looking at the matches that he had. Not even the stories themselves, the match card, bruh. Another thing about this tour that extremely sucked was the WrestleMania match. We cannot just not talk about that, because you talk about this heel turn sucked also because of the expectations, and it all fell apart at WrestleMania 41 in the main event on night 2. Because for you to do this turn and put The Rock and Travis Scott in the background of John Cena beating the shit out of Cody Rhodes, I don't get how you don't follow up with The Rock. The Rock, that was one of his most selfish moves. I mean, he talked about not being at WrestleMania because he didn't want to take the moment away from John Cena, but motherfucker, you already did that by putting yourself in the angle from the jump. It made no sense for The Rock to be out there for John Cena's heel turn in the fashion that he was, especially with Travis Scott back there. I mean, my God, that one of the worst age segments ever, Travis Scott being a part of that, and then out of nowhere just disappearing. acting like nothing ever happened, not even acknowledging The Rock on TV. I mean, it would make a lot more sense for John Cena to have sold his soul because he wanted Championship 17, and maybe that's where we were gonna go with it. But for them to do the whole you people shtick, drop The Rock completely, and have Travis Scott come out in the main event, it truly was one of the most underwhelming moments ever and gave us one of the worst main events in WrestleMania history. And honestly, the match itself, it wasn't anything special, but I don't even think the match was that bad. But that finish, oh my God, what an awful way for John Cena to win Championship 17, because it's going to be remembered. And honestly, I think it really motivated them to do that SummerSlam match and go all out the way they did. And thankfully, they had a great match at SummerSlam between John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Because if that was the last shot we got of those two competing against each other, oh my God, what a disappointing way it would have been for them to go out. But honestly, I thought that match was so bad and that moment was so terrible that it really put a sour taste in everybody's mouth throughout the remainder of this tour that we really haven't been able to shake. And don't get me wrong, Cena had some okay matches with Randy Orton and CM Punk. I thought the tag team match, albeit it was an unnecessary match to do, but still between him, Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso, I actually thought that match was solid. But overall, honestly, I don't think John Cena had that many great matches in him for this retirement tour, and it showed. But in addition to the Cody Rhodes match at SummerSlam, the AJ Styles match was really good. The second match with Logan Paul involved was also really good, which now leads me to the ending of the retirement tour, because I did think the match with Gunther at Saturday night's main event was a solid match. But unfortunately, we gotta talk about that ending. Man, what an ending. Look, don't get me wrong. I think that this is really one of those decisions that a lot of people are going to just debate forever. There's really not going to be a clear-cut right or wrong answer to this. And I'm sorry to everybody watching, but I gotta say my answer is I have no idea what the right answer is. I'm honestly not mad that John Cena tapped out to Gunther, because when I look at that situation, I have to say I do see both sides of the coin here. On one hand, it does establish Gunther and give him a level of credibility that he has been missing since WrestleMania. Because if we're being honest, tapping out to Jey Uso is never a good look. Sorry, Jey Uso fans. But regardless of that, I do think that him getting that credibility was not only important for his character, it sets him up on this path to be the one that retires everybody. I would love a Gunther versus AJ Styles retirement match. Hell, a Gunther versus Brock Lesnar match. That was the match that they had planned to do a couple of years ago before Brock got caught up in that you know what lawsuit. But nonetheless, I also do like the idea of John Cena finally giving up because he just doesn't have it anymore. I get the poetic aspect of that. It is cinematic. This is a guy that chose to give up in that moment because he understood that dying peacefully was just the right way to go out. And Cena went into depth to talk about this finish, I think on Cody Rhodes' podcast the other day. And honestly, I understood it completely. But unfortunately, there's another side of this coin, because I do think the reason a lot of people hate on this finish is because I'm gonna be real with y'all. The whole tour was so disappointing, it felt like we needed something to be happy about, especially in that moment. I mean, you talk about such underwhelming situations over and over and over again throughout the entire retirement tour. Whether it was the dud match with Cody Rhodes, the heel turn with no follow-up, having to watch him face R-Truth twice, Logan Paul twice, and not be able to battle it out with certain guys who were not there for whatever reasons, like Edge or Kevin Owens, all that underwhelming shit about John Cena's retirement tour, I think it really came out in that moment when John Cena tapped out to Gunther and you heard the reaction of those fans when Triple H walked into the ring.
I'm actually mildly disappointed.
And because Triple H has really put himself out there like that as the head of creative, I think it also brings another issue that a lot of the heat that Gunther's supposed to be getting actually went to Triple H. And it seems like he doesn't care. I mean, the guy was literally at the press conference scrum talking about it's gonna be a new era, telling the fans that were booing him and chanting AEW and fuck Triple H, told them I thought it would be a little bit louder. Seemingly, he doesn't give a fuck. And anyone who sits there and thinks that the mentality that Triple H has has is different than the one that Vince McMahon had, trust me, you're out of your fucking mind. Who do you think raised Triple H in this game? It was Vince McMahon. A lot of the same Vince McMahonisms that he had, Triple H is gonna have them too. Now, am I saying that Gunther winning was a mistake? No. Like I said, I honestly have no idea what the right answer would have been. But I do think that Gunther would have got a lot of this same heat if John Cena just passed out, because you could have gave the Cena fans something while giving Gunther something. Gunther would have won the match, got some heat, and went on to be great like he already has. And John Cena fans can hang their hat on the fact that sure, Cena lost, but he never gave up. I mean, you literally heard that arena chanting, "Don't give up."
19,000 pleading with John to not give up.
So at the end of the day, in conclusion, this retirement tour had a lot of ups and downs. Definitely think it could have been better. In my opinion, it was really not that good. And I think it's going to be debated for a long time. I don't know if it's going to age poorly or age really well, but only time will tell, right? And I definitely think another conversation needs to be had about Triple H, the booker, because I've talked about how SmackDown was so bland and addressed some of the issues over there in that video I made a while ago. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. But the way Triple H, I think, has kind of hijacked this John Cena moment to a degree, it really kind of pisses me off. But that's a convo for another day. Trust me, we're going to get on the Baldy Man soon.